But what's funny, we genuinely don't ever have conversations about trying to top ourselves. Like I think it's actually dangerous because if you're really working to go bigger and bigger and bigger every time, like it's a sort of an unsustainable pattern. Really, the vast majority, like 80% of the conversation in the room is like, how do we go deeper with the characters, and how do we lead with the characters, and how do we put them through like existential crises and get, reveal even more about who they are. And then it's like, really, if we're breaking an episode in 3 weeks, we really spend the last 2 days of it saying like, oh, okay, well, let's try to fold in some crazy. And some of the crazy is really crazy, but it's really not the main thrust of it is to continue to give these guys, material and evolving characters that they can just like knock out of the park. And I think that's why the show works. I think the shock factor would wear off quick if there wasn't like, I think, real character substance beneath it. And if people didn't love these guys and really felt for their journey, I think, they'd have watched for a little bit and then moved on to something else.
Was the first 10 pages of episode 301 a case of you guys folding in the crazy, or was that long planned?
There was. That's a really good question. So the very first 15 minutes of episode 1 is by far the craziest thing we've ever done, like by a mile. If I remember correctly, it came in reasonably late because we knew like it's weird, almost like James Bond opening. It has its own adventure
before you start
the new one, right? And there was a lot of talk, and not surprisingly, Craig Rosenberg, who brought you such things as Dolphin Through the Windshield and slamming a boat into a whale, he was fighting for that sequence. Because I was like, maybe we find some other one, and he just was like, this is the one. And he was just so passionate about it that, and obviously it turned out so crazy. The hard stuff is figuring out the arcs. The fun stuff is figuring out the exploding bodies.
I will say this is, I do remember at some point during episode 3, hearing the head of the makeup department talking to one of her girlfriends about ordering more blood. And saying that they had already gone through more blood by episode 3 than they had through the entire season 2. So that just, if that lets you, yes.
Well, yeah, he's still searching for his identity out there. And no, his number one goal is to get back into the 7, right? I mean, I think, he may or may not be a little disillusioned with his newfound programmed religion, but I think his number one thing is to kind of get back to New York and get back into what he's doing best, which is being the number 2 man fighting crime behind Homelander. But no, it remains to be seen if he gets there. But he's come a long way since being drunk at that water park yelling expletives at children.
The sign language questions are going really well. There's a lot more scenes within Kimiko and Frenchie, and they're actually going to be speaking. They're going to be speaking in sign language, which is really cool. I'm most excited for everyone to see Kimiko's dance sequence with Frenchie. There was a tiny little snippet in our trailer, but I never expected to be able to do something like that ever in life, and then I got to do it on a show where I'm playing a character that doesn't speak. So it was a really special episode for me. Yeah.
At the end of season 2, we have that moment where A-Train kind of, drops the mic and then runs up out of there. He gets the call that he's getting accepted back into the 7. So things are looking good. His future's looking bright. He no longer has to dull his light and pretend that he is happy to be there, or even so much as.
You're banned at the church, man. I don't know what you're thinking. Unbelievable.
Look, man, there can only be one. He swindled his way back into the place that he thinks he wants to be. And he was happy to leave the deep behind.
Well, at the end of the second season, he obviously made Becca a promise that he was going to look out for Ryan, and Butcher finds himself torn literally between 2 worlds. One of trying to fulfill that promise, and the other one of trying to get justice / revenge for her death and what happened to her. And it's it's that moral inner turmoil battle that he struggles with. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but Butcher, it's a lot of fun.
I called him regarding something completely unrelated, and I think I closed the phone call up with, "Hey Eric, when are you gonna bring me over to the boys and let me kick some ass or do something? Blow a dolphin. I don't know, whatever they're doing over there. Maybe we can help Chase with some water park shit. I don't know." And he said, "That's interesting. Let me think about that." And he got back. That's my Eric Kripke, by the way. Let me think about that. And we had a few more conversations, and that led to this. And so I thought that was very apropos, coming right out of 15 years of a previous Eric Kripke world and diving right into another one. What I didn't really expect was that had happened just before season 2. And so I had season 1, and then after watching season 2 and knowing Kripke the way that I do, I knew that he would just continue to level up. So I got very nervous at that point and was like, "Oh, great, what have I signed on for?"
We talked about it, and we decided to go full Bill Bixby.
Yeah, completely Incredible Hulk. It's crazy. Wait till people see it.
Great Incredible Hulk moment. It was fun. I mean, I think to me, the interesting character element about that is how far are you willing to go to achieve your goal, to destroy the thing that you hate the most. Are you willing to become that thing? And to me, that's a very interesting existential question. And and I think that what Crip does so well is all of the characters in The Boys have choices to make. And you make a good choice, you'll get rewarded for it. And you make a bad choice, and then you might get punished for it. So it was actually fun to sort of dip a little toe into that side of The Boys and suit powers and stuff, and sort of experience a little bit of that energy, I guess. But you're not ready for what's coming. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, so he's kind of the original superhero in this particular world, and we did get to see kind of a little glimpse into that past. That was really fun to play and to dive into a bit. But obviously, bringing somebody who has experienced that world into the modern age, you can imagine. It was very similar of Grandpa still being around and what he would think of someone like Homelander or someone like Butcher. And so it was really fun to kind of play an old man, so to speak. The beard was tough, though. I got to be honest, the beard was tough. It was an interesting, I think, add to what they already had chemistry-wise in the super world, and especially in Vought, kind of digging up this relic essentially and adding him back into the mix. It definitely shakes things up for season 3.
Yeah, I think that's actually an amazing question, because that's probably the story arc of Mother's Milk's journey in season 3 is at the end of season 2, he gets what he wants. He's back home with his family, with his daughter, his wife. Why would he leave that? And he's always conveniently been able to point the finger at Butcher and kind of pass the buck that way. Like, he's been convinced to do something, and I think in this season we're going to see that it's something a lot deeper than that. It's something that he needs more than he's ever revealed before. And it might be, as Butcher mentioned earlier, choices that we all have to make and then live with. How does that affect the character? How does that impact him and everything else that goes along with it?
Only on the golf course. I play Jensen and Carl on the golf course. No, I actually I'd love to do scenes with and in the season 3, perhaps there's some run-ins, but it's me and Jack always talk about wanting to have a scene, so no rivalry, but
Off camera, I feel like there's this unspoken rivalry, just for like the love of our crew. You know, they're always happy to see us because the stuff with the boys is typically like during the day or like indoors, nicer sets. It's a little more happy. They're like happier to see us. They know when they're doing stuff with the boys, they're like, oh, okay, we're underground. It's raining. You know what I mean? So like they've kind of created this divide between the cast a little bit where they're just happier to see us, and I'm happy about that.
Well, the best part about it is was working with Claudia again, who was one of my leads on Timeless. One, she's just super cool and really great person, and that's kind of honestly most important. But two, like she makes you love her characters. Like she has such a great way of making her characters so sympathetic, and so I was really interested in casting her as a villain, because I thought she'd be a really interesting one, because she brings the audience like in, she like wraps the audience in a hug, you know? And it was just fun to watch. And so, yeah, she's this really interesting ongoing storyline. I mean, we gender flip the character from the books, but this idea that there is this, you know, secret superhero who nobody knows is a superhero, you know, kind of like in play. You know, with Huey, with these guys, like it's a really interesting bomb in a briefcase, you know. And so, yeah, we definitely we reveal, you know, we understand why she's doing what she's doing, and we continue to escalate her story, and you know, we give her a lot more to do this season. So, and Claudia kills it, so people will really dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Cameron. Is it Coleman? Cameron Coleman? Yeah, I thought that was really interesting what they did, and like sort of to play in that, you know, in the extra world. You know, we've done some extracurricular sort of, like the faux commercials are always fun too. You know, I guess I've gotten to do a couple of those, but like this fake soy sauce commercial is so stupid, but so much fun. I mean, for the deep as well. You know, but yeah, I have a blast with that stuff, and the Cameron Coleman stuff was awesome.
It's very creative. It's a nice outlet to, like, you know, even for us watching, it's bonus content that we don't really get to keep up with as much until like it comes out, and then it's like a nice little filler, you know, and it just kind of reminds us that this thing is continuously growing in ways that even we couldn't imagine.
Yeah, the extracurricular stuff, like Chase said, is I just assumed that it was going to be a little snippet. You know, not to give anything away, but there's some old footage of Soldier Boy that we see on TV, and doing that, you know, creating that content that we see. We didn't just like shoot, you know, a couple of seconds, which is probably all we'll see. We shot the whole thing. Like we did the entire story. Which is insane to me because it's days of filming, and so I knew when Phil Segricha, who was somebody who I have a long relationship with, he was on Supernatural and now he's on The Boys. I knew when he showed up and he was like, "I got you for the next week." I knew we were going to have a lot of fun, but I was also like, "What are we doing this for?" And he just goes, "Amazon."
Sounds just like him. Yeah, Amazon.
We definitely did it as a dare because from the minute people heard we were making The Boys, people would say over and over again, like, "But you're not going to do Herogasm. I dare you to do Herogasm." So it's like, honestly, part of it was like we were in season 3, we were a hit. Amazon could say no to us less and less like over the seasons, and so finally we were like, "All right, let's do it. Let's fucking do it." Like,
it's time.
it's time. They're not gonna. I don't think they can stop us. I'm pretty sure they can't stop us. And so then we did it. But it's just like, look, I mean, it's no secret if you read the books, it's a massive superhero orgy. And so again, we're not trying to be overly crazy. It all comes from this very logical place of like, if there really was a superhero orgy, what would it look like? And how do you depict it in the most honest way possible? Because we're all about integrity here. And yeah. So we really created something that very much looks like a real superhero orgy. But we're just telling the truth, man. We're just reporters from the front lines of the truth.